Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
Since we're on the topic of winter and
Yeah.
all the problems we've had,
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
a record-breaking February for snow in Minnesota.
Yay!
Yep.
Prior to that snow, in the fall, we had rain that caused a flash freeze of what little snow we had on the ground.
Yeah, my whole backyard was a skating rink.
A lot of people's was. And all winter long, like it just sat there and snow piled up on top of the ice. So when it came time in the last week or two here for these 40-degree days to melt all the snow, everybody had these goddamn lakes in their backyards.
Yeah, the water didn't have anywhere to go. I had probably 4 inches of water in parts of my backyard, and very wet basement.
And then the picture of your driveway that you sent me with the water in your driveway.
Is it me or Mrs. Number One?
You sent it to me.
Okay, I don't remember taking a picture of my driveway.
Yeah, unless it was on the Facebook. I don't know. Either way, I saw
She
the
put one
fucking
on
picture
Facebook, yeah.
of the water in front of the house in the driveway, and it looked like a mirror.
Yeah, it was a lake.
It was so deep.
It was probably 40 feet across, and at its deepest point, about 2.5 inches.
Well, I've shoveled so much snow this winter that I developed tennis elbow, hence the copper-infused
really?
compression sleeve I've been wearing to make
Huh.
my elbow get better.
Wondering about that.
And I finally got so pissed off at shoveling snow about a week and a half ago. You probably can't see it because it's dark, but when you leave, look above the garage. I got pissed off and chucked a shovel on top of the garage. There were 2 feet of snow when I threw it up there. Now there's like no snow, so there's just a random snow shovel on top of my garage.
That's hilarious.
It's comparable to when Walt threw the fucking pizza on top of the garage.
Yeah.
And I think it was season 4 of Breaking Bad.
I think it was season
Was it 5?
3.
I thought it was
I don't
after
remember.
that.
I've only gone through the series once, so. But that's funny though. I got really mad at my snowblower because it's an old pile of shit, and like the chute for the snow where it throws the snow kept getting clogged because of the wet heavy snow that we had. The very last big snowfall we had that threw like 4 or 5 inches. It was just wet heavy snow, so I'm just trying to get through it. It took me like 2.5 hours to do my driveway.
Jesus Christ, I could have shoveled it faster than that.
Yeah, probably. It kept clogging up, and I kept pushing down and lifting up, and so I could slam the impeller down to get the snow out of the chute.
Uh-huh.
And I think that ended up making the belt fall off the pulley, and now it doesn't want to do anything.
Well, you can't normally rock machines like that. Even pinball machines, they tilt.
Pinball machines tilt, yes, but I don't know. It's just a shitty snowblower. So
Great way to fix that problem. An old table leg that you don't mind jamming down in the chute to break at the clogs.
yeah, I had a pole, but it was up at the garage, and I was at the end of the driveway, and I just like, well, I'll just slam it on the ground a few times, you know. I've done it before, and it worked.
I'm shaking my head at you.
Whatever. That machine's done for. I already got permission to buy a new one.
Well, of course, you can't stick your hand down in the chute because accidents happen.
Yeah, I'm not dumb enough to do that.
Yeah, a guy that I go to karate class did that a year and a half ago, and he lost the top third of his fucking pointer finger on one hand.
My neighbor 2 houses down from me is missing part of his finger because he thought he was faster than a lawnmower.
What the fuck does that mean?
He said he partially saw something underneath the lawnmower. He's like, oh, I can grab that. And he stuck his hand underneath the lawnmower to grab. I don't know what it was. He never told me what it was. And it took off.
The tip?
Yeah, like between the first joint and the tip of the finger. But I can't remember which finger it was. I can't remember if it's the middle or the pointing finger.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, well, he's not the brightest guy. Him and his brother are probably in their 50s, and they're still living with mom.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like my neighbors across the street, except their mom's dead. They just live in the mom's house.
Mom still lives there.
Not for long.
Well, at their house, yeah. I imagine she might, like, accidentally fall down the stairs.
Well, you got water in your basement, which caused me to take a look at my basement and panic because there was a little tiny bit of water in the recording room here in the workshop.
You don't have carpet.
I don't have carpet. I have a rug. But what I did was I just laid down some newspaper and some brown paper bags, and it soaked it up like nobody's business.
What?
Have you never thought of that? I told you that the last time I got it wet down here.
No,
Once you get
I don't
down,
recall when you the last time you got it wet down
that 100-year rain we had when we were down here, I'm like, why does it sound like running water while we're recording? We went outside and it was fucking shin deep goddamn water because my gutter downspout blew off.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Okay. So, yeah, newspaper and paper bags. Just let the paper do the work for you.
Hey, do you want a wet dry vac? I have a spare I'm selling. It's brand new, only used for a couple of days. Half price.
I don't have a use for it.
You get water. It's good for everything.
Is it good for everything?
You could use it to get yourself off, too.
I think the hose is too
You
wide.
can stand on your knees and...
Why would I stand on my knees?
Or kneel and just put it on there.
If you're going to mock yourself, at least get it
trying
right.
to mock you.
Kneel on the corner of the bed with a towel on top of the comforter so I don't
I'm
get
not
jizz on the
copying it
blankets.
word for word. And excuse me for when I was 14,
I like
15,
that you still get
16.
defensive about that.
It's just, I don't know.
I refuse to let
I was trying to get
go.
past it, but you won't let me now.
Anyway, so I had some water back here, and I went out back and I looked, and my downspout where it meets the gutter at the corner of the house there at the bottom, well, it was frozen shut and frozen in place, and there was a gap, so water was running.
That's the problem I had with one of my downspouts, too. The end, Mrs. Number One fan ran it over with the four-wheeler
What the
a few
fuck?
snowfalls ago. She didn't
You're riding
Supposedly-
fucking snow. You're riding fucking four-wheelers in your backyard in the winter. You live in the city. You have a small lot.
Yeah. I got a nice wide backyard.
Jesus
Got a nice little
Christ.
figure 8 track back there.
Oh, God.
And then I go out in the driveway, go out in the street for 2-3 inches of snow on the road, and we cruise around the neighborhood. It's fun. But she drove through the neighbor's driveway through between the houses and ran over both downspouts. One didn't get, it just got a little crushed. The other one got moderately crushed, but that's the one that froze up and the water collected and it just started coming out right where the part coming down the house and the part
And
that
it meets at the joint.
it was dripping out of that, and that went right into Bubba's room, and that's where I think it all started.
Redneck fun in the city. That's what you get.
Gotta do with something. I'm paying $135 a month for it. I want to use it.
I suppose. But so anyways, mine's like leaking. Not a lot, but enough that it had puddleized because it'd been going for 2 days with all that fucking rain we got.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed an old saucer sled and jammed it underneath there at an angle so it would collect the water and aim it back towards 1.5 feet away.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do about the gutter? So while I'm sitting here brainstorming ideas, I dug a trench around the house in the snow, fucking 4 feet wide on all sides, like I was getting ready to defend.
You need a snowblower.
It's good exercise when you're angry.
Yeah, sometimes I shovel my driveway by hand if it's less than an inch, but not when it's 2 feet deep around the house. Screw that shit.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I came up with a great idea on how to get the gutter unfrozen.
How'd you do that?
I didn't have a blowtorch handy. I wasn't going to have an extension cord come out the bedroom window with a hairdryer. But what I did have was gasoline and matches. So I started a small fire on top of the ice and flash melted the ice. Oh, yeah. Not within 2 feet of the house. But the very end of the gutter that juts out 5 feet from the house. I just made a small pool of gasoline and about 3 rounds of tossing matches and letting her burn. Putting it out with snow and shoveling the snow away. It fucking worked like gangbusters. The next day, that bitch was unthawed and jizzing out all that ice chunks.
I cut off the section that she ran over and was frozen up, and I just stuck it back on the house.
That's fine. That works. But mine, I needed a more immediate fix.
Yeah, I suppose. I had that done within an hour, so.
And then for lack of a roof rake, I took like a 6-foot ladder and stood on the second to top rung and was just one hand pushing the shovel up on the shingles gently to get as much snow off. I shoveled like I could reach like 4 or 5 feet beyond the gutters to get snow off, and I shoveled all the way across the back of the house. And I would have gone up there if I had a taller ladder and shoveled the whole fucking thing.
You know, I have a ladder you can borrow.
Yeah, I have a car that doesn't have a roof rack.
I have a truck. This ladder folds up. You could probably fit it in your back seat.
Yeah, well, if my fucking dad hadn't taken his goddamn ladder home to paint his house, the one time I want him to leave his shit here, it's not here when I fucking need it.
Yeah, right before all that snow, I climbed up on my roof because one of my coworkers was like, "Well, I climbed up on my roof last night, and some of my roof vents were covered." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
They were all covered on my
Everything
house.
checked mine, yeah. So I climbed up on my roof with my ladder, And I was shoveling snow off from around the vents for like an hour and throwing it over the edge of the house. And I think I had the 2 spinning vents on the top.
Yeah.
Both of those were stuck. I got them freed
I don't
up.
have those.
I have 5 of the ones on the top, the square ones.
Yeah, huh?
Those were all covered, so I did those. And then the sewer ones for going down into for the plumbing, the vents for the plumbing, those were, thankfully, the snow was right to the top of them, but I think there was enough heat coming out of there where it was just
keeping it
the
from
snow, because it was like a bowl
it.
around that.
Mm.
But yeah, I shoveled a lot of the snow off all the vents and everything. It just took like an hour. And then I learned you don't want to go all the way down to the shingles because it gets very slippery.
Right. That's why I was going to tell you when you were done rambling about that. Ill-advised move to get up on the roof. But our houses are similarly only 1 story on the outside. So,
yeah.
I mean, we're just jumping off Randy Savage style or Jimmy Snuka style onto the snow and hoping for the best. It's soft enough.
Yeah, unless I fell on the air conditioner unit or into the egress window.
Now, as you're rolling, you got to push off.
Don't think I would think about that.
Yeah,
but you know what? I just didn't go all the way down to the shingles. Like the one spot I went down all the way to the shingles and stepped on it and slipped. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave like just an inch or 2 of snow. So that's what I did, and it worked out great.
It's too bad that I didn't have like a propane torch connected to an actual propane tank. They have like blowtorches for sidewalks now.
Yeah, we use those at work.
Okay, I would have needed one of those. It would have worked great on the gutter. Would have worked better on the fucking fire hydrant. And here's where I'm going to rant a bit. Every winter, my dumb fuck waterhead neighbor is like, we got a problem with the mailbox because we got to take turns shoveling it because if we don't shovel it, then the mailman gets pissed off and he's going to fine you. And I Googled that shit. I couldn't find anything that says the post office will fine you.
No, they just won't deliver your mail.
Right, but, he's dumb as a box of rocks and his mom drank while she was pregnant with him, so he doesn't understand that shit. Fuck! So we're getting out of the car one day, and it was time for his annual gripe about taking turns with the fucking mailbox. All right, the guy next door, the African dude, he won't do it. He just laughs and walks away. It's an applaudable response. I have told him in the past, I don't have time for that shit. You don't have a job. Knock yourself out. This year I was going to say, you have a fucking snowblower. And I have a job that requires all my free time pretty much. Fuck off. But I didn't get the chance because he flagged down the wife instead. And I let her do it. I'm like, you want to grab the mail? And then he starts walking. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well, kids, get in the house quick before he talks to us. And he's talking to her saying, well, the mailman's getting mad. And he says that he's going to fine us for it. I wanted to just be like, dude, that's not true. You're full of shit. And while we're on the topic, when your house catches on fire, you're going to want that fucking fire hydrant in my yard that I'm the only one that ever digs it out, to be clear, right? So if you're griping about the mailbox, walk your dink ass over here and fucking dig it out yourself and you take a turn. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and shovel in front of the mailboxes. I have to actually dig out an igloo's worth of snow to get to the goddamn hydrant. You cockeyed fuck.
Well, it is in your yard, so...
It's for every house on this half of the goddamn block.
Oh, trust me, I know. Well, actually, when my house caught fire, the fire hydrant in my neighbor's yard, they didn't hook up to that one.
What'd they hook up to, the truck?
The one outside the circle.
Why?
Don't ask me.
What the fuck?
I was emotionally distraught. My fucking house burned. But I remember going
Probably
outside
not the best
looking
time
around
to discuss
like,
the logistics of firefighting.
There's no hose going there. What the fuck? And then I saw one truck at the entrance to the circle. I could see the hose go to it and then a hose. So...
They probably just picked the first one they saw and they panicked.
Maybe.
And it's not going to stop like, whoa, time out on the firefighting. We got to switch the hose to the other thing with the thing.
And then it makes me wonder, like, when they because they probably shut the water off to the house as soon as they got there. And I wonder if the gate valve also shuts off the fire hydrants. I don't know.
I'm not a civil engineer.
I don't have too much experience with water gate valves.
You know who might know that? My dad. But we can't ask him because he's down in Florida with my mom.
Do they have water in their house?
I don't know. I haven't been over there.
You should go over there and look.
They have a sub pump.
Do them a solid.
Yeah.
Do your dad a solid.
I've tried numerous times, but I keep forgetting that my garage door opener for their house is in the other car. I don't drive as much anymore. So, until I spend some more time in the Fusion and get that door lock fixed, we're just going to cross our fingers and hope for the best. I don't know. I think they got the neighbors checking. What the fuck do you want me to do? Don't fucking go to Florida for 3.5 goddamn weeks on vacation.
Not this time of year, no.
What do you need a vacation from? You're fucking retired. Why, so you guys can hate each other and fight over meal times in a different time zone?
You bitch!
Boo. Boo. Fucking timeshare.
Well,
Suck
I
a
was
bag
just
of dicks.
saying, you know.
But, in other news, I jumped in the lake again this year and did the polar plunge, so there's that.
I saw that, yeah. How fun was that?
Oh, well, let's discuss that. When I jumped into the water, I was fine. It was a 26-degree day. There was almost no wind. When I got out of the water, however, for some reason, my testicles began to ache. Immediately. I've never had groin pain from doing that before, but like the tip of my dick and my nuts were just aching. So I'm trying to walk it off up the hill so I can get to like the air vent in the tent before the change building, because I just parked my ass in front of the thing and tried to make it less obvious. I was trying to warm my junk up. And then I go in the fucking change tent. They got to make these change tents bigger. They seriously do.
Well, they don't expect people to be spending a half hour in there, so.
Well, maybe these old guys wouldn't take off all the clothes they wore, wear a fucking bathing suit, sack up Sally. The fewer the clothes, the better when you're going to polar plunge. All right? But don't go in a full fucking outfit and then go back to the tent and spend 20 minutes standing there, fucking buck-ass naked, just toweling off every square inch of everything except for your ass, so your ass is facing you the whole time. And then when you do go to towel off your ass, you turn around and point your shrivelly old pecker at me, and it's looking like, you know how they give kids those little, like, canned mini hot dogs? They sell them in the baby food aisle.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking old guy's cock looked like a little smoky in a bird's nest.
Ew.
Trim your pubes, you old fucks. God damn it. And then it's finally my fucking turn, and I sit down and I'm trying to change, and this fucking guy walks up to me and he's changing next to me, and I'm just like, I need to hurry the fuck up because he's going to bend over to dry his feet. This guy was special.
Special?
Yeah. Well, he was there with his PCA, personal care attendant.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, he's going to drop trow and just fucking stand there because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
Sure as shit he did that.
No
And
shame.
thank God I was down to just putting on a t-shirt before he fucking let it all hang out. I'm like, oh God, don't look. And there's fucking little kids in this tent with old guys with their birds flapping around. Tell me that's not an issue.
Peekaboo!
It's not really. It's not like, hey, check everything out. It's
Little
you're in a
kids.
men's, quote, locker room.
No, it's a tent with a flap barring off from the rest of the goddamn room of
That's
people
why
waiting
I
to jump.
said, quote, it's an area for privacy for, I'm sure they have one for women. It would have been cool if they were mixed together, but
They do.
you know.
Seriously, I want to know what goes on the women's side. Do they stand there with their fucking tits hanging out with the old ladies? Fucking spend 20 minutes toweling off 3 inches of pubes?
From what I
In
understand,
length?
some do, most do not.
Fucking let your titties hang out and just sit there and sing a few songs. Because I'm on the other side of the tent miserable because there's an old man's dick looking at me.
Yeah, that was one of the problems when I used to go to Lifetime and work out and stuff like that, was going into locker rooms and being like, some of the guys just walking around nude, just like, okay, yeah, I know we're all guys here, but fucking cover it up. Nobody wants to see it.
Just say something. I would fucking say something.
I just averted my eyes.
I would simply say to the old guy, like, hey, Father Time, nobody wants to see that shriveled up shit, so cover it up. I know you're just flapping it out here because you want some attention paid to your cock, but nobody's interested in what you're selling. So back the market and put on a towel.
I probably just didn't want to have management come to me. It's the men's locker room and everybody has the right to be in the nude so they can dry themselves off or something.
Everybody doesn't have the right to stand there porky pigging it in front of the sink with just a fucking polo shirt and their dick hanging out over the ledge of the sink while they brush their teeth. That shit happens. A guy I used to work with went to Lifetime before, and some fucking like Swedish guy, he knew he was a Swedish guy because he had an accent. Yeah, and he's standing there at the fucking sink blow drying his pubes.
Ugh.
Yeah. Why don't you just put a fucking tattoo on your ass that says insert dick here? Because that's what you're really doing is fucking putting out feelers to see if anybody wants to sit there and play Castle Towers.
You know, that's just cultural differences from Europe.
Who the fuck blow dries their pubes?
People in Europe, apparently.
Fucking, if anybody's going to be clean shaven and with it and wow, it should be Europe. They've been sexually liberated for decades.
They have no shame. That's why they don't keep stuff clean. I mean, the women don't even shave their pits sometimes.
Gross.
That's gross.
I don't want them.
That's fucking gross.
Put that shit away.
I agree with you.
I still want to see their vaginas, though.
You know, I don't even know if I liked vaginas with hair all over them anymore.
Did you ever?
No. Now that I think about it. Well, I've seen a couple of my dad's porns from when I was a kid. And
Gross.
it's like, that was bushy bush.
Bushy bush. Yeah.
That was buckwheat being in a leg lock.
Ugh. Well, we started off talking about snow. Now we're talking about 70s bush.
Yeah, sometimes this could take a turn.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And SCN.